Welcome back for Week 12's IDP waiver wire, and we are starting with a linebacker who has been underachieving pretty much the whole season. Heading into Week 11, the Bills' Terrell was dealing with a persistent ankle injury that limited his practice time early in the week. However, he returned to full practice participation on Thursday, and Bernard then went on to be an absolute beast in the game against the Buccaneers, living up to his projected status with a fantastic IDP stat line that included logging 11 total tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, plus he chipped in 2 passes defended. And looking ahead to Week 12 and the 49ers, like the Bucs, they are also a highly ranked team for linebackers in terms of points allowed, and their heavy usage of the run and intermediate passing often forces linebackers to accumulate high tackle numbers. And given Bernard's current status and the favorable opponent scheme, he is a locked-in top-tier IDP waiver wire pickup and has a strong chance to match his ceiling again this week.
Moving from one known high-volume tackler to a guy known as an LB1 streamer in the past, let's look at Houston's Azeez Al-Shaair. This Texan linebacker also managed a knee issue that limited his practice early in the week, but he was upgraded to a full participant by Friday. And against the Tennessee Titans, Al-Shaair plays his usual full snap count, logging 6 total tackles and contributing to a defensive effort that held the Titans to just 13 points. And just a pretty status quo type of performance again from the former LB1 streamer. But looking ahead to Week 12, the Texans face the Buffalo Bills. And while Al-Shaair's season totals are down, averaging 6.5 tackles per game, and with only one truly top-tier outing this year, the Bills offer a massive opportunity. Buffalo is a top 10 ranked team in allowing tackle numbers to opposing linebackers, meaning it's a tackle-heavy scoring format call. And this matchup helps make Al-Shaair the perfect, safe low-end LB1 option in a week that might not offer many at this point of the season.
And keeping with the theme, let's check in with the Lions' Anzalone, who just might offer the best combination of safety and ceiling this week. Anzalone continues to be an IDP workhorse, and a season average of 5.5 combined tackles per game. He provides a solid floor overall. And his Week 11 performance against the Eagles, he delivered 6 total tackles and 1 tackle for a loss. And while his 12-tackle outing against the Chiefs remains his only higher-end LB1 performance of the season, his consistency is key in this matchup. Looking at Week 12, Anzalone faces the New York Giants. Not anything new, but the Giants are still a top 12 team in allowing points to the linebacker position and pretty favorable across the board in all IDP scoring. This solid matchup, combined with Anzalone's near 100% snap rate, makes him a safe option with significant upside. So Anzalone is another deeper option whose LB2 floor is safe, but the matchup offers the potential for a solid LB1 ceiling this week.
Kicking off our Week 12 DB waiver wire, we head to Kansas City for a safety who has been quietly stacking up elite production. Chamarri has become a cornerstone IDP goldmine for the Chiefs this year, delivering massive tackle volume. And his Week 11 performance against the Broncos is an excellent example, racking up 8 total tackles, 1 for a loss, and 1 sack. Through 10 contests, he has 76 combined tackles, averaging a fantastic 7.5 tackles per game. And that's a level of production that consistently rivals current linebacker 1 numbers. He's also logged 4 very top-tier DB1 performances this year. And according to what we see, depending on how deep your format is, managers have a pretty good shot that he's free to pick up. Looking at this matchup, the Chiefs face the Indianapolis Colts, and the Colts offense is still ranked in the top 3 in points allowed to safeties. So given this elite matchup on paper and Connor's high tackle volume for a DB, he should be viewed as a locked-in DB1 pickup with upside you need to fire up this week.
Next up, we have a veteran safety who is absolutely crushing it over the last 2 weeks. Jordan Poyer is putting together a phenomenal late-season surge. The veteran safety recorded an outstanding 15 total tackles and 1 pass defense in the Week 11 win over the Buccaneers, leading the Bills' defense in stops. Just re-signed recently due to injuries, Poyer was put right back into a starting role out of necessity. And with starting safeties Taylor Rapp and Damar Hamlin both on injured reserve, Poyer has now played at least 80% of the defensive snaps in back-to-back games, recording 23 total tackles during that span, which gives him an average of 11.5 tackles per game over his last 2 outings. Looking ahead to Week 12, Poyer and the Bills face the Houston Texans.
And this team has been considered a top-tier matchup for the safety position all season as they generate high tackle opportunities. So given Poyer's clear reestablishment as one of the Bills' top safeties and returning to form, Jordan Poyer is a proven veteran high-volume DB1 you can pick up and trust in your lineup this week.
And now we go a little deeper. We finish our list with a definitive matchup play. San Francisco's Malik Mustafa, who is all about opportunity and volume this week. Mustafa, who missed the first part of the season, is a guy we are depending heavily on volume and matchup to deliver. And not to pick on the guy, but he has not graded out very well since his return. However, due to the rough state of the 49ers defense and a long list of injuries, Mustafa is locked into a full-time role. Since his return, the second-year safety has tallied 35 tackles across 5 contests, logging 95% of San Francisco's defensive snaps each of the past 4 weeks. He also showed upside in Week 11 with 4 tackles, 1 pass defended, and his first interception of the season. And looking at Week 12, this is where the value truly lies. The 49ers face the Carolina Panthers, which, as you know, we love picking on. They have remained a top 5 matchup for the safety position in many fantasy formats, and they don't disappoint very often. So, given Mustafa's guaranteed snap share against this elite matchup, he is a volume-dependent DB2 with a clear shot at DB1 production you can plug and play Week 12.
We kick off our Week 12 defensive line waiver wire with the player who just broke a franchise record and is poised to dominate a slate of favorable matchups, Jacksonville's Josh Hines-Allen. And Hines-Allen is another recent veteran defensive lineman who is heating up at exactly the right time. He just delivered an excellent Week 11 performance against the Chargers, tallying 4 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass defended, and his historic sack, which made him the Jaguars' all-time franchise leader. And while Hines-Allen's overall sack total might not immediately jump off the page, his underlying production certainly should. He is currently ranked in the top 10 in the NFL in applying pressure. That high-volume pressure is the key indicator that will help secure a higher ceiling, especially when you consider his upcoming schedule. And after struggling with IDP production through the first half of the season, Hines-Allen now kicks off an incredibly softer schedule compared to his last stretch. Starting with the Cardinals this week, the Jaguars then face the Titans, Colts, and Jets, and every single one of those opponents is ranked in the top half of the league for surrendering production off the edge. It also just so happens that his first opponent, the Arizona Cardinals, sits atop the league, ranking in the top 5 for fantasy points allowed to opposing defensive linemen. This also helps make Hines-Allen a must-add and a top defensive lineman pickup for Week 12. So, if you need a well-known veteran DL1 waiver wire streamer this week, Hines-Allen has the matchup and the upside to make him one of our top pickups. Our next player is a guy emerging and one of the deepest with high-end DL1 potential this week. Former first-rounder defensive end Myles Murphy is making the most of a massive opportunity in Cincinnati. He is seeing extra playing time because the Bengals' defensive line has been decimated, with both star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson still sidelined and former first-round pick Chamarri Stewart recently placed on injured reserve. Murphy has stepped up with immediate production. In his last 2 games, he has been a tackling machine, logging 6 combined stops and a pass defended in Week 9. Then, after their bye week, he came in with 7 combined tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and a sack in Week 11. And now he sits at a solid 2.5 sacks on the season, 1 as a full-time starter. And this sudden production surge comes just in time for an absolutely elite matchup. Murphy faces the New England Patriots in Week 12, and the Patriots' offense is one of the most vulnerable in the league, having allowed the second most sacks to quarterbacks this season. Drake May is constantly under duress, leading to huge tackle and pressure opportunities for the opposing defensive line. So the consensus is Murphy can be confidently streamed as a DL2 option this week, with the bonus of another favorable DL matchup against the Ravens looming in Week 13. And if you need a quick-fix DL with great volume and an unparalleled matchup, Myles Murphy looks like a great option. And for our final DL pickup, we're targeting a veteran presence fresh off an injury who gets a huge boost this week. Let's talk about the Titans' Arden.
Key is a solid high-upside ad for managers needing deeper defensive line help, and this veteran edge defender is perfectly poised to get on a roll and take advantage of his upcoming favorable matchup. He had missed multiple games due to an injury, but he made his presence immediately felt in his Week 11 return versus the Texans. His performance, which included 3 tackles, 2 for a loss, and 1.5 sacks, was his best game of the season, instantly confirming his role as a necessary edge presence on the Titans' defensive front again. And when healthy, his veteran production provides a reliable floor. Not that this year's stats have reflected that yet, but Key is not just an average pass rusher, known well in deeper formats. His history of streaming production suggests he's more than capable of stringing together high-impact plays when given the matchup, and sometimes even when it's not exactly perfect. His Week 12 matchup is with the Seahawks, whose offensive line is ranked in the bottom third of the NFL in many rankings we see. So given the favorable matchup against one of the league's worst units, Key has the momentum and proven skill set to secure a significant IDP impact. Let's pencil him in as a DL2, but make sure you have a look around first. And that wraps up our look at the 3 must-add defensive linemen for Week 12. For more weekly IDP advice and IDP fantasy football waiver wire pickups, be sure to like and subscribe. And good luck this weekend.
They doubted us every step of the way, but we knew what we were capable of.